Welcome to the Great Distraction.
How's it going, everyone? This is The Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is winning the lottery. Wouldn't we all like to do that?
Woohoo!
My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts Thomas
How's it going?
and Glenn.
Hello!
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with just a little something to ponder. And before we get started, just a quick reminder. If you have any questions, comments, or topic suggestions, we would love to hear from you. Our email address is greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or you can always hit us up on Facebook. Tom and I hang out there quite often.
Yeah, we do.
Probably a little more often than we should.
In the wormhole of Facebook.
Man, social media.
Yeah.
Where I would not be
I don't
if
feel
won,
so social.
Yeah, no, where I would not be if I won the lottery.
Sure you would.
But you guys can leave us messages there.
Probably. I'd actually use my Instagram account, post all the cool pictures of cool things I was doing. Wish you were here.
Right.
Best day ever.
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently not for everyone, because it seems...
Not the best day ever?
Apparently, because it seems that a lot of people, after they win the lottery, end up broke after 3 to 5 years.
So definitely not the best day
So
ever.
they have too much fun, and some of them even end up in debt. It's kind of crazy. Now, finding stats for this stuff is a little tricky because most people seem to disappear, for one, after they win the lottery because everybody and their mom wants money from them, and we'll get into how real that actually is here in a bit. But the other thing is I think it changes their life so much that they kind of become recluse afterwards because it's just easier or kind of, I don't know, I would imagine it would kind of lead to that, you know, if you have millions of dollars to spare and blow on yourself, and I did not just say blow yourself either, so just before you even...
You went there. I didn't say a word.
I saw you look up. I knew.
If you had that kind of money, you definitely don't need to blow yourself.
Isn't that the point of the thing?
I don't know. You might go for that rib removal surgery.
Oh, man. No.
He's got the cash. I do whatever I want with my sexy body.
See, I think after you have that much money and you're the only one, you got two choices. You can either give it away to everyone so that everyone, all your buddies and whatever, can enjoy.
Or they can steal it from you.
If they don't steal it from you, you can give it to them so that they can enjoy that fun life with you, or you're going to be the only one enjoying that fun life. So
You can be all alone.
It's lonely at the top, I think, and that's what...
I think so.
Yeah,
I think you'd have to move somewhere where nobody knows you and try to live like a modest appearance of a life. Because if you have money, you don't have to work, so you could just kind of move anywhere you want and just kind of disappear. That goes back to that reclusiveness thing.
Yeah.
And I think that totally, I would understand that.
And I've wondered, too, what if you did what a lot of famous people do? They go move where other rich famous people live. So everybody you're around, and therefore hopefully your friends or whatever that you would make, would be in the same situation.
Yeah, but you'd be the ghetto trash of the rich neighborhood
totally
because you got
would
it
be.
through the lottery.
Yeah, oh, yes, absolutely. New money, right?
Yeah. You don't move into Lake Forest with that like that.
Be the Great Gatsby.
So how do they end up broke? Well, I think from what I was reading and from just my own, just thinking about it, I guess you could say, people who win that kind of money usually, so let me take a step back here. A majority of the people that play the lottery, supposedly, and there's been some studies that were tried on these. I couldn't find any specific ones, but that was what the articles I was reading about were saying, was that usually it's lower income level people who are playing the lottery with the hopes of changing their situation. I mean, obviously, I think that's why most people play, but there are other reasons that we'll get into here. And those types of people have no concept of managing large amounts of money. Most people don't have any concept of how to manage large amounts of money. Why would we? We don't have large amounts of money to learn or to be taught to manage, right? So when you get said large amounts of money, you go and do what every other individual has done before you and during your time alive and all your friends.
You buy a bass boat?
You consume. And that means you blow it all. There's I guess it's a good time. There was a gentleman who was who is very much out there, or was out there. I don't know if he still is, for feeding the media as to what his experience was like. You'll probably see if you look him up. I can't remember his name, but if you look up lottery winners who lost it, or people, there's a couple of articles that were out there that said people who hated the fact that they won all this money. You'll find this guy inevitably, because I think he was one of the first to win the largest amount or something like that. It's like 2006 or 2002 or something. And he was, I can't remember where, Texas or something. I don't remember where he was. They were saying that this guy was just a super nice guy. I think he was some blue collar job, super kind to everybody in the small town he lived in or whatnot. And he wins the lottery. He won. I think after taxes it was like 700 million. I don't remember how much it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point was he started like almost quickly doing things that he was not into before. Like dropping $50,000 at the local strip club for a whole crazy ass night with a bunch of strippers. It didn't take long for the stupid money spending to kick in to a person who wasn't that type of person to begin with. And that kind of stuff happens because we are not taught to manage large portions of money. Most of us don't have it. So when you get it, you just think, well, I'm going to keep doing the same thing I've always been doing, and rather than hire a financial advisor or somebody to teach you what to do with this sum of money, you go out and do what you've always done with money and be happy. Think you're going to be happy, right?
Buy stuff.
Yeah, and then inevitably people will come and try and take it away from you, and yeah, that's where the real fun begins. That's where you find out who your real friends are. But yeah, that guy was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, like. There was like the part of the article was talking about this chick who ran a local cookie store, and he came in there and just gave her hell of money and bought her a house, and because it was somebody he would say hi to every day, and he had hell of money.
$700 million.
Yeah, or I don't even know if that was how much it was. Whatever, it was a lot of freaking money, right? More than he knew what to do with. It probably wasn't that much, but because that's a lot. Not 700, because that's almost a billion. No, it was much less than that. It doesn't matter. It was a lot of freaking money, way more than he had ever seen in his life. And he blew, like, almost half of it was blown or taken by people who came, and help me. Yeah. I guess they were saying he was trying to just basically give it all back. And he was, I guess, one article said that, there's a bunch of articles about this guy, actually. One article said that right when he got it, the first thing he said he was going to do was give it back and basically help everybody in the town and try and make the town better or whatever. And yeah, people talked him out of it. They worked it out of him, and I don't think he did anything for the town really. It just kind of it went completely fucking sideways, which happens to a lot of these people, I think, and it ends up leaving them, broke and feeling really stupid, I'm sure. And then they end up making, doing interviews for the press for these articles to show how it ruined their life, so they can squeeze a little extra money because they don't have any money anymore. Some of these people even find themselves in debt, and that's crazy too. I mean, man, I don't ever understood how that concept works. So, okay, let's just say, assuming a lot of times they take the lump sum, which is what you're not supposed to do, but you take the lump sum, you've got all this money in one bank account or whatever, and I guess, what does that mean? You went out and bought...
One giant pile of cash.
Yeah, and to end yourself up in debt, that means that you are buying on credit when you have tons of money?
Okay, think about it. So, say you're an average person that has never really had a lot of money, and you hit the lottery and say you win $9 million. Not a dramatic amount of money.
No.
But
after
to
taxes,
somebody,
it's way less.
Yeah, so probably 4.5.
Yep.
So look at somebody who's probably never made more than 40 grand a year, and all of a sudden they've got $4.5 million. They're going to party, do things. What's also going to happen is they're going to start getting, because they've had money in a bank or whatever, they put it or whatever, they're going to start getting, hit up from like credit card company. Hey, have a $50,000 limit gold card. Have a this, have a that.
That's true.
Because now everybody knows that.
And you can't pay cash for a lot of the big purchases,
Absolutely.
Right? So you're going to have some sort of line of credit.
So they know you're using a bank because you're not very smart and you just got $5 million. You're using a bank. So they've got a way of hooking you in there. So you're blowing money, doing stupid things, helping people out, buying people houses, throwing stuff on your credit card. Next thing you turn around, you've got $500,000 on your credit cards.
Wow,
I can see that happening.
Yeah, if you're not spending cash, you're putting on a card.
Or taking out a loan for something and not paying it off all up front.
Somebody wasn't paying the payment, or your business manager, your mom.
Or you spent all of it before you paid off the remainder of the payment.
Right.
Come on now. Seems silly, but... yeah, put yourself in those shoes. What would you do? I mean,
Well,
It's easy to see
We've
how
all
it could
got an
happen.
opinion.
Yeah. Well, they're like assholes, right?
They all stink.
well, mine doesn't. I don't know what you guys.
Glenn's got rose petals.
Glenn bleaches.
Shit.
You're dirty.
Gross.
All right. Does it buy happiness? I don't know.
I think that's up to the person. I think if you gave me a bunch of money, I could be real happy.
Okay.
You know what?
okay.
I would say money gives an opportunity. I don't say it necessarily buys happiness.
Yeah, it doesn't change who you are. It just changes your options.
All right. Well, from a study of
And
20.
if your options make you happy,
Yeah.
Hey,
I was riding a bicycle, and now I'm driving a Porsche. My
giggity
options made me happy.
From a study of 22 winners, it was showed that none of them were any happier than they were before they won. Now, the reason I brought this up is because this actually led into an interesting concept. And the concept is called the hedonic treadmill, or also known as the hedonic adaptation. And what it is it's the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. We have an equilibrium of happiness or depression, depending on where you are.
sure. Well, you got to be able to experience the highs to have the highs.
You got to have the lows to have the highs.
Right.
You can't all be high. So
So you got to have a medium.
That's right.
Like a middle ground.
that's right. You will be happy and you'll be high for a bit, but then it'll be like, I'm just as happy as I was before. It's got a whole lot more shit.
Yeah.
Or a lot more money in the bank, hopefully.
A lot more people keep calling me for no reason.
I have a lot more friends, quote
A
unquote.
lot more family.
Oh man.
How am I related to you again?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, don't worry about it,
George
buddy.
Washington was a man.
Yeah. Alive.
And your grandfather was a man.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Exactly. So I ran across one article that I thought was really cool. It's actually it was a list of best advice if you do one. And while we all enjoy fantasizing about what we would do if we did win, I thought, let's also fantasize about what the best advice would be, what we should do if we would win.
According to whom?
Well, you be the judge of that as I go through this
Okay.
list. One of the first rules on 2 lists that I found was tell no one.
That dude, if I ever see the numbers on one of my tickets, I'm gonna be like, zip. I just became a monk.
Now, this goes
Right.
much further than a monk, a vow of silence. Did you turn religious, man?
Not chastity. Just
Yes. One of the... sorry. Let's see. I totally lost my place. Oh, yeah. Some people take it as far as, and the advisors will advise that you take it this far, as to create trusts or entities, LLCs, any type of entity that hides your name from the winner list.
Ooh, I like that one.
Most of these entities that host the lotteries are actually required to release the names and the towns of the winners. So I mean,
so you could start a company or something that accepted this.
I guess that's an option. I don't know. Again, this a lot of these things here are going to be to deal with along the lines of, well, we've never run into large lumps of the money before. That's why we don't know how to deal with it. So
Right.
yeah, you create a corporation that accepts the winning ticket, because I think too, who's to say, and it kind of makes sense, who's to say who bought the ticket? You could say, oh, I bought that on a company credit card, or I withdrew cash from my company's ATM card, for that I own my company and it won it. So maybe you give all that money to the corporation. It's got to pay taxes, but you got to pay taxes. What's the difference?
The corporation has no employees.
Yes, you can totally have a single
Yeah.
member corporation. A multi-member can be 2 members. That's multi-member. Yeah, you can totally create.
and I think there is a time frame when you win. to
30
when you
days from
collect.
30 days from what I
Okay.
saw. So you have time to set things up
Yeah.
if you want to do that before you. I don't even know if that's when you get the money. That's just you have to claim the prize. I don't know if that
I
means
think it's
you.
claiming the prize. Yeah.
Yeah, but is claiming the prize give me the money, or is it, hey, I have the winning ticket? I'm
I think
claiming.
I think it's all the legal documentation.
Okay,
and
so you don't
signing
actually have-
everything and say, yeah, you wouldn't. I don't think it'd get. Who knows? I mean, I've never won, so I have no idea.
man.
But I know that there's a process.
Okay, so that's one thing, is to actually set up another entity that accepts it, not you. Okay, going down the
A
list.
foundation,
Yeah, sure, or I guess maybe you could
a
just say do a trust.
501A foundation or whatever.
A charitable foundation. Could
Well,
you
I
just
mean,
donate it to my
nonprofit,
charity?
and it's a nonprofit foundation.
there
And
you
now we
go.
have you donated this straight to this nonprofit foundation, and now the foundation has the rights to use it and disperse it in whatever manner they feel for the greater good.
And now we know why all the churches are rich.
Right?
I would totally start a religion.
You could totally do that, yeah. Yeah.
The
I don't
cash
know
of
how
Glenn. So the Church of God, the cash of Glenn.
Right.
Oh, the cash of Glenn.
I don't know. Celebrate fire arts.
Awesome. Okay, on the list also.
Do fun shit.
Right.
Well, of course you do fun shit. People will find you that you haven't seen in forever.
Your second brothers, cousins, nieces, aunts, sisters,
So as a piece
dad's
of-
boyfriend,
That's right. As a piece of advice,
ex-cellmate.
be prepared. Ex-cellmate, jeez. Yeah, they will hunt you down. Another piece, hire an expert advisor immediately. Help you set up a long-term plan, even before you claim the ticket. Another interesting thing that that they talked about too, as far as hiring an advisor. This is kind of cool because I didn't think about this. They can actually play defense for you. They can set up defense for you. So you can, for example, somebody comes at you, second brother's boyfriend, cousin, 12th removed, whatever, wants money. Oh man, the lawyers and my financial advisor have all that money tied up. I don't know if I could invest in that or loan you that money, but go talk to them and they'll tell you what I have to play with. What's the first thing they're going to say? Sorry. Don't know. I can't help you, buddy. So they can say no for you.
Yeah.
And then what do
they
they
can
do?
be bad cop.
That's right. That's exactly the term that they used to, that they can play bad guy or bad cop, whatever.
Nice.
So that's a nice little wall of defense that you can set up there.
You're going to need that.
Yeah.
It's going to be important.
Big time. Another one that I saw multiple places that I thought was kind of funny at first, but I have said this before myself, if I ever won. Don't quit your job right away.
Oh, yeah, no.
Don't quit your job right away. And that's for many reasons, actually.
I'd take a few days off.
Well, yeah. I'd probably burn up all my vacation.
My throat's really sore.
Yeah. Well, for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is if you call up and quit your job, everybody you work with is going to know why. Because what's the first thing you're going to scream out? Because I won the lottery, bitches. I'm out. Like Dave Chappelle did. I'm out. I mean, everybody's going to know. All your coworkers are going to know. All their family members are going to know. Everybody you knew through their coworkers are going to know.
Everybody's going to know.
Now you just educated more people. You won the lottery, and they're all going to come for you.
Everybody's going to know.
That's one reason.
Because they want what you got.
That's it.
Everybody's
Second
gonna know.
reason. And some people were saying wait the full 30 days before you take the money or do anything. And some people were saying, some of the things were saying, wait months before you start spending.
I would
Get
go with
yourself used to the idea that you've just won a crap ton of money and your life's about to change. How are you going to change it before you blow all the money at once?
Put some...
A plan. Put a plan together.
Put a plan together.
With
yeah.
your financial advisor. And then, stay at work. Staying at work keeps your...
Start laying out your multiple homes locations.
I
Because you don't want to have to do layovers to get from one house to another.
Yeah.
Commercial flying, if that's what your choice is going to be to save
Now
cash.
we know what Thomas would do. Yeah, so they were just, most of that was to emphasize maintain normalcy as much as possible for as long as possible so that you can keep a clear head and make...
So you can disappear.
Yeah, or that too. Well...
Exit route. I'm surprised the one that was an exit route. Fake your own death. Something.
You're not supposed to do that. That's illegal. But yeah.
I left my money to this foundation and I just happened to die.
Just transfer it to a Swiss bank account.
I was just going to say it's an offshore Swiss bank account. Yeah, I don't know where my money went. Let's see. A big one. Prepare for a big emotional toll. A couple of the articles I was reading was saying people that were interviewing people who had previously won, they were all surprised at how how big the emotional toll was dealing with spending and trying to figure out how to manage and just the whole thing. People begging you for money, what to spend it on, how to spend it, when to spend it. It becomes a full-time job. And that full-time job, many would say, sure, well, I'd love to have that full-time. Well, okay, there's obviously going to be good sides to it, but at the same time...
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, right. At the same time, it will be taxing. I mean, if you've ever... I don't know. Again, I can't relate to anything. I've never gone through it. However, in my imagination, I kind of thinking, like, what if it's like... if you had a whole bunch... let's say you sold a house for a hefty profit and you started building your house from scratch. Because in my mind, I would love to build my own home. That would be awesome. It would be
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it would be completely personalized. Every cool little gadget and stupid thing I would put into it, I would have an opportunity to put into it. However, that would be extremely stressful to me personally because I would micromanage the hell out of that. Every single nail aspect of that.
Man, you're going to be the contractor's worst nightmare.
I would probably have to be the contractor. I would get my license so that I could build the damn house myself because it's just, it would be a nightmare for me. It would be probably one of the most stressful endeavors I've ever done for the 1 or 2 years it took me to build the stupid thing. I imagine spending millions of dollars would be somewhere along the lines of that, unless you can take it all and invest it all at once and make it real easy for yourself. But if you're looking at how to budget this, that, and the other, and your home in the Bahamas and your yacht and all this other crap, well, it might get stressful. Let's see, what else was it? Oh, another one that popped up multiple times. Take the payments. Don't take the lump sum.
Why?
Because we're stupid, Glenn.
I want the bathtub full of money, man. I gotta go swimming in it.
Oh, it's still going to be full of money.
You want to Scrooge McDuck it?
Hells yeah.
The biggest reason for this is, for what we started off saying at the very beginning, people do not know how to manage large sums of money who have never managed large sums of money before. You can save yourself from yourself. It's the same amount of money. And then the argument by some investors would say, no, you always take the lump sum because you can potentially invest it and make more money off of it. Where are you going to invest it? Do you know what you're doing with that? Probably not.
Well, you have financial advisors, so you're kind of already got a plan going.
I think a lot of the financial advisors advise that you not, because one of the things financial advisors are supposed to do, probably in my opinion, the biggest thing is how can you make my money last? I'm trying to make this money last me 80 years. 70 years, 60 years, because that's about how long I think I'm going to live, or whatever your number is, right?
Yeah.
I need this money to last me that long. So if that's the case, how is taking the whole damn lump sum at first versus a 20-year disbursement? So every year.
Because in 20 years, this government's going to collapse.
Then your money ain't going to help you anyway. But I mean,
It's just be
Yeah, but if I can spend it all right now.
I mean, if the U.S. economy actually collapses, the whole global economy is going to suffer from
Dude,
that.
we're coming up on something.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
Conspiracy theories.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we're coming up on. Some episodes on conspiracy theories.
You know it.
In which we will include the collapse of the U.S. government. I like it. Yeah. So to keep you from messing up, that's one of the reasons they advise take the payment plan. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, what can you do with $20 million in hand that you can't do with $1 million every year? I mean, just
a lot.
No, spread it out. Spread it out. I mean, damn, spread it out.
You can't buy an $8 million yacht.
Okay. Well, yeah, it depends on. I guess it depends on how much you win, right? What can you do? Let's change the scale a little bit. What can you do with $200 million in hand that you can't do with $20 million a year in hand?
Well, $20 million a year is a lot.
Well, it depends on how much you win, right? If you win $200 million,
It also depends on your perspective, because
I don't know why I'm dividing by 10 because that's not right. Wait, no, 20. Anyway, my math is all messed up.
you just divide it by 0.
That is
add another
officially losing the game when you try to divide by 0. Yes.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, you have to keep it with respect to, again, if you're trying to keep some sense of normalcy and some sense of normal, what you're used to living, right? I mean, for anyone going, 10 million a year or even $1 million a year is a freaking huge jump from what you're used to. You could still live in a huge house, drive a brand new $100,000 car, hell, maybe even a $200,000 car, if that's really what you want to blow your money on. You could have all kinds of nice new clothes and buy yourself jewelry or whatever. It's $1 million a year. That is rich as far as everyone in America goes. So, I mean, you could live like that for 20 years. Yeah. That's a good life.
That's a good life.
And then while you're, hopefully, if you're smart, while you're doing it, you're taking 100, 200,000, investing it every year and, building yourself something that will make your money last.
Yeah. And even in that situation, you're still living better than most Americans.
That's
by far.
By far.
I mean, if you after taxes, say you had just to make numbers even, $1 million a year to live on.
That's a ton of money, dude.
You could afford to live anywhere in the world for one.
Yeah.
If you have $1 million budget.
Any way you want it to work for the most part. I mean, you're not going to be like a rich czar in Dubai or whatever the hell.
But I mean, come on.
Dude,
but it would keep you realistic.
Yeah, you'll be in the top 3% or whatever, for top 5% or something in the country. I mean, damn. Don't get stupid.
Right.
Enjoy the good life and ride it out and plan for your future.
Every day would be Saturday.
Oh, man.
Every day could be Saturday. Yep. I mean, really, and I think it's a good idea. It's good advice to to get the payments, or whatever. But I mean, obviously, if you were a little smarter and were investing and had a bigger picture of it, you'd take the lump sum. Because you'd be like, okay, give me $96 million because I'm going to do this, blah 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 with it. But for the average person, I think you're totally correct. I think you just take it. It's $1 million a year. I mean, come on. That forces you to only have X amount. Yeah. And it kind of keeps you a little bit more grounded. But you're going to live a absolutely perfect life. I mean, come on. $1 million a year budget.
Yeah, and it keeps you from doing something dumb like buying the $8 million yacht. You don't need an $8 million yacht, unless you're going to buy
I do.
Unless you're going to. So one of the things I've always imagined doing is buying a high-rise building somewhere and basically becoming a Trump. put all my money into
But you could
real estate.
finance something like that if you had that. If you, I don't think any bank would turn you down if you had a lottery winning for the rest of your life. You have $1 million a year coming in regardless. I
Well,
think you
that's
could
not
get
going to buy you a
financed.
high-rise building.
No, not
but
a
it'll
high-rise
buy
building,
you
but
other
it,
stuff,
but it
commercial
could get
property.
you, but it could get you as a partner into something, or
Absolutely.
shares into something,
Absolutely.
or it puts you in a financial ability to actually
That's true. I didn't think about
do
that.
things like that. Small development, like especially real estate, started on a small development.
Well, what I was saying is I didn't think about that because you're right. The bank would look at it like, wait, let me see the paperwork here. Oh yeah, you have $1 million a year coming in for the next 20 years. Well, assuming you don't go completely stupid and spend it all, that's a good guaranteed income. Now we'll finance you for all kinds of crap.
You want to finance $7 million, and we know you're going to get $20 million in the next year. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because and the legal ramification, if they had to sue you or come after you or whatever, they know that there's X amount of money coming to you in like a fund.
They could garnish
or something,
those
and they
wages
can
real quick and
garnish
get that
that, so
money
that's a
back.
guaranteed payment.
Meanwhile, you're glad you didn't quit your
So,
job.
yeah. So but again, goes back into levying, having some money to be able to levy yourself into any sort of a real financial ability to grow as a person, regardless if you got 50 million or 1 million is a lot of power.
Yep. Indeed. All right. So why do we play? There were
For the dream of it.
the dream. Actually, yes, that is one of the reasons. There was a number of psychological conditions that I found in I think it was Psychology Today.
Got to satisfy that fantasy.
That's right. That they brought up, and it was pretty cool. I was like, okay, yeah, some of these are obvious. Some of these are, yeah, it's not too. You're right. I didn't think about that before. Even though the odds are horribly stacked against us, why do we play? And let me describe horribly to you. The Powerball and the Mega Millions are the largest in North America lotteries. We're not talking just the U.S. All of North America. Those are the two largest lotteries, period. And they are comprised of 45 participating lottery entities. Now, for each of them, it's plus or minus 10, 20 million, something like that. But the odds are around 1 in 300 million of winning.
Oh, those are awesome odds.
Awesome. 1 in 300 million. Let me give you a little perspective on that. The U.S. population, all of us in the U.S. in 2019 is 329 million. So basically, one person in the U.S. wins these things. That's your odds of winning.
But they have like one every week or two every week. So now your odds just increased.
Spoken like a true gambler. If I just keep playing, I'll reduce my odds. It's 1 in 300 million.
This isn't a once in a lifetime game. You can buy tickets all week long.
And constantly increasing the more people that play, obviously.
Right. So if I buy 3 tickets, that's it increases
Before we started recording this,
the number of players, right?
Okay, yes. But you're not the only one putting pools together and doing that same thing.
Right. So if everybody plays buys 2, then you've got double the amount of entries. That just thins your odds that much more.
Yeah, I look at it as like, as crazy as that sounds, somebody always wins it. So
somebody's got to win, right?
Somebody's gotta win.
That's
Somebody's
definitely
gotta
one of
win.
the psychological concepts. There's another interesting we were discussing before we started recording this episode, and I got it from another article that I didn't really include in my notes here, but I thought it was a cool concept, or at least one worth considering. We are brought up not really ever dealing or taught to deal with large numbers. When somebody says,
it's so big.
Yeah, exactly. When somebody says you've got, there's 20 playing cards laying on the ground. Okay, at 20, I can imagine 20. It's kind of the same thing with distances too. Somebody says, oh, that's 50 feet away or 20 feet away. Okay, cool. Now, if somebody says that's 3 miles away, tell me how far 3 miles away is looking. I mean, you can't. It's far. It's too far. If somebody throws 500 playing cards on the ground, it's like, how many playing cards are on the ground? I don't know. I don't deal with that. That's too many. It's just too many. If somebody pays you, if you're used to making, I don't know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month for your monthly paycheck or whatever, that's what you get paid for your job, and all of a sudden you have $100,000 in a month. You never even budgeted that big before. You don't even think that large. In most things that we deal with, it seems we're taught to, at least my perspective, it seems that we're not taught to deal with big numbers. If you're a science STEM individual, either math, whatever your degree or your work or whatever, you get into some of these humongous numbers for cell counts, these representative numbers, so that you can calculate some equation or whatever. either infinitely small or infinitely big, one or the other. We have to come up with symbols that represent these things because nobody can understand a petabyte of data, or some other, humongous number. We don't deal with these. They're just words. 1 in 300 million is so big that we don't even comprehend how poor our odds are for that. And that is a true factor that they play off of when they promote this stuff to us. They know we don't know any better. So we'll play. That's one half of how they present it to us to keep us interested and thinking that we have a chance. There's some other things that we'll get into here as we continue down the psychology behind some of this that they play off of and utilize to get us to continue playing despite these horribly stupid odds. Let's see. Where was I here? Oh yeah, the never misses that makes you want to try harder. You almost made it mentality. Here's another thing that really plays off of how we are raised. Maybe it's just this country. Maybe it was just me. Maybe it was a time period I was raised. I don't know. But when I was a kid, there was breeding that we were taught, and it was a very important word, and that was persistence. And it's keep trying, better luck next time. You'll get it eventually. And I feel like this is something we teach kids when we teach them sports, to play sports. It may be a fault of this too. Playing sports teaches you, what do you teach the kid? If it fails the first time, well, you go out there and you try again, you keep repeating. You lose the first time, you try again. Well, that's something that they play off of with getting you to play the lottery. Even though you never had a chance, they still tell you, play off of that concept. If you're trying to kick a soccer ball in the goal, you try it again, you probably will get it in. The odds aren't that bad for you, right? You can only miss the hole so many times, Glenn. But when it's 1 in 300 million, no, you're never going to get it. You're just not going to win that one. And it's even built into our video games. It's built into everything. We try again. That's something that they can tap into. It's an essence that's built into us, like we're a little pre-programmed for it. Yeah. They found that the code's there, and they're like, exploitable.
Yeah, it's a future customer, future purchase,
that's
future,
You're pre-programmed to win this. Maybe it's the sheeple in us. Maybe it's the consumerism in us. Whatever it is. You didn't win the first time, don't worry. Yeah. You'll get it next time.
Try again.
That's it, man.
Yeah. But we also live in a world where, if you're a regular person in this world just trying to make it through and go to work and keep your, house paid for and your kids happy and you're barely squeaking by, the fantasy of buying a lottery ticket is fantastic because it's like that little endorphin release of little dreamy things could be so much better, maybe I'll get lucky, go for it, and that's all media that's been sold to you and advertising to get you to be a part of it, just like cigarettes were in the 50s. It's the same kind of thing. So it's just that mentality that we're trained over and over and over.
Let's go right off of what you were talking about. The average person going to work every day, living the grind, just trying to make it through. That's what they advertise.
That's the target.
To. That's right. When they show people
target audience,
one of the first things that our first interactions with this, aside from the billboards and crap like that, is what you see on TV. And what they show us on TV is that it is possible. They heavily promote when there's a winner. And look at this average Joe or this average Sue or whatever jumping up and down and, yay, I won. Well, oh, man.
You see the same thing at the casinos, man.
That's
right. When you have somebody scores a jackpot,
grab their hand, take them up there, and
right,
yay.
Show them off, take pictures, newspaper ads. That's the write-off for the casino that shows that they had this payout so they don't have to pay as much in taxes.
You come here and you win.
Yep, I could win. It just breeds that mentality. Now, what they never show is the individual that's been playing for 20 years and never won a thing.
Hey, we don't worry about that guy.
And there's plenty of those individuals who have never won anything. And yet
they're the ones that pay in to farm that large jackpot for that one person that does win.
Yeah, they agreed to be part of the funding.
Part of the machine.
They agreed to it.
Not even a cog.
They walked up and asked to be a part of it.
A tooth on a gear, maybe. Right. Some dust.
Right. It's your only option. It's easy to just fall in place.
Now, there's another concept here that I read about. It is called the sunk cost fallacy. And it is...
Fallacy is an awesome word.
That's right. Yes. It's kind of along the lines, at least as I understood it, of a who cares how much I've spent? I just won. So you don't think about the loss of how much it cost you to win that $100 or whatever. Maybe it cost you $400 to win that $100. Doesn't matter. I just won.
Hey, it's that endorphin release, man.
That's
It's
it.
that gambling addiction.
Gambling addiction mentality is kind of what I kind of.
You're willing to risk anything for just a second of happy,
Yep.
Hey, man.
Money's nothing.
Any happy is better than no happy.
right? No matter what it costs you.
Yeah, and sometimes they use it to feed, this concept can be used to feed. Well, I'm reducing the odds. Like I'm wearing this thing down, right? I won a little bit. My chances are even better now because I've just won, right? And also it's one of the reasons that they, at least in my opinion, it's one of the reasons that they have so many other levels of winning for the lottery. If you look at the odds, it's like for which one? I think I don't play these, so I think it's the Mega Millions has 5 numbers plus. Oh no, maybe it's a Powerball one. It has 5 numbers and then plus a Powerball number, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you get 5 plus the Powerball, that's the jackpot. Then there's just 5. Then there's 4 with the Powerball. Then there's 4. Then there's 3 with the Powerball. Then there's 3. So there's like a whole degrading line of numbers you can get matched and still win a prize, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the odds, and you can everyone, if you play the lottery, you should Google this. You can just Google. I Google California State Lottery odds, and there's a page. I think by law, at least in California, they have to show you what the odds of winning are. And as you continue going down, all the way down to just one number, matching one number or just the Powerball number or whatever, the odds grow like dramatically smaller, logarithmically smaller, right? They plummet, such that you stand really good chances of winning something. That dollar ticket, oh cool, I paid $1 and I won $1. It's like pretty much every other ticket you see somebody buy, they get their dollar back. 50%. I don't know what the hell it is, right? Mm-hmm. But even that's enough to drop the pebbles, so to speak, and like, yay, I got something, I should play again.
Yeah. I think that's built into the overall, like if you're starting a business and you have a business plan and you're looking for funding.
It's in the model.
It's in the model. That's what I'm
well, on their end, that's how they can support it, obviously.
Yeah.
But for the
you have to have payout, just like the casinos. They have to have a payout to get people excited and talking, and enough people that it seems like people win once in a while.
And if you don't believe that that's the case, well, why wouldn't they just take all that money and make it stop winning at 5 plus the Powerball? They don't have to have the lower disbursement amounts, right? And then there would be bigger Powerballs. You could stand to win more money. No, that system doesn't work. It doesn't tease the mind and get people thinking that there's a potential for them to win more. That's what they want. They want they want to breed that addictive nature out of it.
So I think if I won the lottery, I'd start a casino.
Wow, that could be a very smart investment.
I'd start a money laundering business.
To launder your money you don't have to pay taxes on. Oh man, some people, we're still in the psychology of this. Some people play purely for the entertainment value. And I can relate to this because when we've done pools at work, it wasn't because I thought we were going to win.
No, you just kind of get in on it I'll
bandwagon mentality, right? It's like
it cost me $4 to be friends with you guys this week.
Hey, got to catch them all.
Yeah, it used to be just one. Usually, it's just $1 to play or whatever. But it's camaraderie, if you will. Another part of that is
that inter-office gambling though?
That's why we don't tell anyone because I think most places. Well, it depends. It depends on where you work. Some places are against that. It's whatever their individual company policy is. I don't know. I suppose if you wanted to, some people care to set that or whatever. But I'm sure that there have been lawsuits in the past over companies doing that kind of stuff and allowing their employees to do that stuff. So some companies feel like...
Yeah, but those only happen when somebody wins.
Exactly. So but it's like you get some paranoid company and they're like, nope, we don't want you guys doing that because we don't want you, doing this or whatever.
If you guys all win, you'll quit.
There's another mentality they come up with. Yeah. Some people use that purely entertainment value for a short-term justification to fantasize about winning. I just played. I may as well think about how cool it would be to never come back to this job again. Pay off all my family's debt and live in the Bahamas.
They can keep their debt. I'm going somewhere else.
Leaving the country. It'd be such a small amount, man. You mean the family member's debt?
Yeah.
Oh. What a guy, Glenn. You're a charitable individual, man. I like it. Oh, okay, and then some will just use it and I've seen my coworkers. So my coworkers do this too. They'll just use it as an opportunity to walk around and crack jokes for the next hour. And go
Hey
out.
man, if I can burn an hour doing something
right?
somewhat entertaining and not
Right.
focusing on my work,
It's like being the camel at the office going, "What day is it?"
Yeah. I'll spend an hour going around collecting everybody's money, half an hour going to get the ticket, coming back in another hour talking about it afterwards. to
Right,
everybody, and handing out the photocopies of the tickets, right?
Hey,
So basically, you spent the entire afternoon not working,
Exactly, and took
and
any,
it cost you $4,
took any excuse you could, and you may even win.
right?
something.
One in
Shit.
300 million.
Odds are looking up.
So I guess that if the odds are that bad, I guess that kind of, I don't know, maybe my math is wrong there or whatever, but if you could come up with 300 million to win 1 billion, could you potentially make that pay off for you? I mean, can you imagine going through 300 million tickets?
So, kind of a side question here, but still relates to
What if
lottery.
you could get a bank loan for that?
Is there any correlation between the randomly generated numbers and the numbers that you write in as far as a win ratio?
Oh, are you talking about
What I've heard is that the computer generated numbers are way more likely to win.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, so I have spent a little
I've
bit of
heard
time.
that because I've asked that question for years.
Yeah. I have spent a little bit of time going through the. So again, one of the other things the California State Lottery does, I don't know about the other ones. They actually show you all the numbers and the percentages of the draws, like basically, so you can try and, if you want to try to play under the thought process that I'm going to choose like the most commonly chosen numbers, or I'm going to choose the numbers that are least commonly chosen. The percentage breakdowns are very, very, very close. So it's kind of like, well, that one's got 57%, but this one's got 53, or whatever
right.
the percentage is,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of like, it doesn't really help too much to try and go off of or play off of that concept. But if it makes you feel better and gives you the money, they're happy about it. That's why they give you those
all right.
values.
Right.
Sort of a full.
Yes, your numbers are special. Here's your ticket, sir. Move along.
And I have heard that too, that because some people like to play like, these are my select numbers that I play
Oh, yeah.
every time, right? And sometimes those people, I think most of the time it's the people who take the computer generated number, the randomly generated
Yeah.
numbers, right? It doesn't make a difference. Your odds are still 1 in 300 million.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's your special numbers with your mom and your kid's birthday and your,
Right.
the day you got married or whatever. If it makes you feel better and you play, they're happy about it.
Right.
That's what
But
it's all about.
As long as you're giving them
Your money.
You're putting in
Yeah,
your dollar
exactly.
this time around so they can boast that $1.2 billion freaking jackpot that it was, right? Yeah, and that was another thing too that I was really surprised that everybody jumped on was I thought, if I remember correctly, I mean I was younger, but I thought that the lottery was used to at least in California, again, that's all I can speak to, was just the California lottery, like.
once upon a time.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
upon a time it was. Then they started doing the tri-state lottery,
Yeah.
and then they did the West Coast lottery,
Well,
and now it's
I think it's
45
better-
states or whatever.
Yeah.
45
Well, I think you can
lotteries.
advertise a larger jackpot.
That's it.
So
but
it's
your
just
odds
like-
get tremendously worse.
Oh yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
like, why would
Details.
yeah, that's what blew me away is people started eating this crap up. I was like, wait a minute, why would you want?
Because
It's
the
already
jackpot was bigger.
yeah, it's already hard enough with one stupid state. Now you got
Man,
well,
you're asking people to do math and gamble.
but see, here's the thing: the ones that do stay in smaller geographical areas now are much smaller than they used to be. There's one that I looked up on the state lottery website. I don't remember what it was called, the Fantasy 5 maybe or something like that. But it's just California, and the max you can win is 50 grand. I didn't when it was when the California State Lottery was just California, wasn't the max like millions? So
Yeah.
now it's only 50,000 is all they'll get. So if they would not have split, started encompassing so many more states and more lotteries, we would still have big lottery pots. We just now you had a much better chance of winning them. Maybe they weren't $1 billion.
Yeah, but me as the entity who is generating this lottery, I'm going to make a lot more money off you saps if I can pull from a larger group of people.
Right.
I can throw a bigger jackpot, but, your odds are that much worse. That means the house is making much more.
Yeah, I always,
house always
and I'm sure maybe it's public information, but who knows? I've always wondered, if you look at like a 1 week period and like just say the Mega Millions, how many tickets did they sell? Like how much? Is there like a listing online that shows those stats? Because you have to figure, okay, so it pays out. Let's say somebody hits it and it pays out, and after taxes somebody gets like $44 million. Well, how much was actually put in the pot to win? Are they taking 50% of what they
That's
take
a good question.
in?
Well, first of all, in taxes, they're going to get some of the money back, right?
Absolutely.
Now, the joke is that they take half, and they really do take about half, but some of that goes to the federal government.
Yeah.
Like more if it goes to the federal government than goes to the local state government.
Yeah.
So the state's going to get back some of that money to begin with. The other thing too is that if you have a multi-part or multi-entity lottery, I suppose there may even be a potential for a state to get in more than their people put in. I don't know if that's possible. I guess it depends on how the percentage are broken up. We don't know how the organization is put together,
Yeah, right.
It could be, all the United states put together, pitched in for their lotteries, and maybe it's broken up like electoral votes. California immediately gets a higher percentage because there's more people here back to the California state lottery entity, right? Who knows how that works as far as that goes. Yeah, no, I freaking
crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Well, it's just that, lots of conversations we've had, we've talked about how money gets allotted to something, but how much of it gets absorbed by stupid stuff, just random.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know if that, I have not gone looking for that to see if that's public information to see how much is actually generated.
Yeah.
But even if you found out how much is generated, we don't know the breakdown of these multi-entity
That's true.
lotteries. And they probably wouldn't tell you that. I don't know. I didn't even look for that. That's a really good question because
it'd be crazy if they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you $500 million because we just took in $800 million.
So the way I've always thought of it is exactly like when some entity runs a raffle. A raffle is a great moneymaker. You sell tickets and you have a prize that's not worth anything near the amount of tickets you sell.
Yep.
And maybe people don't think of it that way, but if you buy a $300 iPad and you're in a group of 400 people, and everybody buys a $500 ticket, $5 ticket, or even if half the people buy a $5 ticket, you give away the iPad, and you still walk away with double the money or whatever, depending on how many tickets you sold. It's really easy to make your money back off of raffles, and that's why charitable or events or whatever organizations will do this, because they make a killing off of it. And the potential is there, and though your odds are way better of winning that than they are the lottery, right? Your odds are usually pretty decent to win a prize of some sort.
Especially bingo.
Hey, I like bingo, man.
Cool.
Bingo.
Bingo's fun.
Bingo was his name.
What in the hell are you guys singing that for? Right.
Uh-huh. But I think going back to the thing of lottery, it is fun to fantasize what you would do with $600 million. You know what I mean?
What would you do, Thomas? Tell me, what would you do?
You would never even know.
I would never see you again.
I said it earlier. I'd start a money laundering business.
Whose money would you clean, though? Your money's not dirty at that point.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's not important.
I have friends that could use this service. Oh, man.
What would you do, Ben? $600 million.
The first thing, I've always thought the first thing I got to do is, it's along the same lines of, if you were given 3 wishes, what would you do? Wish for more wishes.
So you invest the money wisely?
If I was given $600 million, I would think of, actually, the way I'd like to look at it is as just one piece of ability. Whatever the amount of money is, it's an ability. Because this is what happens to me when I get my tax return back.
Potential.
It's potential. What can I do with this potential that might yield me something cool afterwards? So I'm thinking, okay, you got $600 million. Great. You can do a lot with that. You can buy a whole bunch of shit.
Hey, just think about me, man.
Yeah, just
all that other stuff's not as important as me.
Think about me. The first thing I would think is, what if I could find a bank account that was securely banked this money and would pay me the interest on it? What if that yielded me like $400,000 a year?
Well, that's the thing.
It's
if
not
you're smart, you
$600
can live off the interest.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I would look for.
But you want to diversify that. You don't want to be all that in one bank.
Yes, that's the problem. That's why the first thing I said was an entity that could actually insure this much money, because that's not so easy to find.
Exactly.
So instead of investing your money in a bank that can't insure your money, that's why the first thing I was talking about was totally like Trump and that stuff, dude. And
real estate.
Buying a huge sky-rise building that would get me X number of dollars in rent and then live off of that. Because
the Ben building.
The thing, whatever. The thing is, whatever. Okay.
He lives in the Benjamin.
The thing is like we had started off saying, is we are used to, your $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $10,000 a month, whatever you make, that's what you're used to. This huge chunk of change has the potential to dramatically, exponentially increase what you're used to living by. It doesn't matter if it's $1 million a year or $10 million a year. Your life is going to dramatically change, and the ability to spend more is going to dramatically go up. And therefore, you're going to work with whatever you got. You're still going to live within your means. If your means is $1 million or $100 a month, you're still going to live within your means. If you attack it early on, and don't go blowing millions of dollars when you've got the 600 million. You will not get used to blowing that kind of crazy money.
Dude, it's all about blowing that load.
Coke and hookers, right, Glenn? Coke and hookers.
Giggity.
God.
Speedboats,
Now, before I would
hookers.
I have never and more than likely will never pay for a prostitute. However, what I would consider doing is buying the brothel.
All right.
Walk into
Hey, that's
He
a
doesn't want the
sound investment.
machines. He wants the machines that are making them.
That's it, dude. Yeah. Walk into the bunny ranch and say, boom, how much for the whole place? I don't want, no, the whole place.
They just laugh.
Probably, actually. They make a lot of money in those damn things. But you could maybe start your own in Nevada, I suppose.
Right.
That's true. I don't know.
Anyway, that would be the first thing I would think of is before you get used to this amount of money, what can you do to keep a much huger amount of money than you're used to having?
Much more ginormous.
Much more ginormous, yes.
What would you do, Glenn?
Yeah.
Besides
Besides coke and hookers.
Besides coke and hookers, yeah. No, none of that for me.
And
thank you.
speedboats.
But
Speedboats, yes. You got to go fast while you're doing cokes and hookers.
aside from just general investments,
What investments? What, I mean, what would you see? For me, commercial real estate's always been my
Commercial.
my fantasy.
Definitely. I'd try to buy some land, something that I can charge rent on.
Yeah. The residuals. You got to have the fucking
Totally,
residuals.
totally.
Man. Yeah.
Get out of the rat race. But the arts have always been pretty big for me.
Investing in art.
Fire arts, glass blowing, blacksmithing, welding. I like to shape material with fire. It's sort of my schlick.
Oh, so you're talking about buying stuff, investing in stuff to do more of that.
Totally.
Well, yeah. What would you do on your downtime, right? And you'd have a lot of it when you have to work.
Well, I mean, I'd still work.
Yeah.
Family business and all that. So I'm in that for the long haul as far as I'm concerned there.
Yeah.
But if I can do put together a school, something that I can teach, something that I can give back to the community a little bit.
Yep. For sure.
And to I don't know, advance my interests, I guess.
It's, going back to the working thing, that's one thing I always thought too is in my entity, you have, after you work X number of years, you get vested in, right? And you get, one of the things you get vested into is your medical. That's one thing I've kind of gone back and forth with myself too, is because you can be vested in, for me it's 20 years. Excuse me. And after the 20 years, you can continue working, of course, but your medical is as good as it's going to get. That's now you're fully vested in at that point. One of the biggest fears I had was, well, that means I guess I could quit and go do something else and hopefully either adjust my living style or maybe I could find some other way to make the same amount of money, one or the other, right? But after that, my medical will be covered. One of the things that scares the hell out of me is, okay, you run into a whole bunch of money, maybe not millions, but let's say you run into a good chunk of money and you can be living very comfortably or have a very nice life, one or the other, and something goes wrong. You get cancer or you get some other messed up stuff. You can deplete a large amount of funds, maybe not a millionaire's amount of funds,
But possibly.
but quickly with medical crap. And if you don't have that locked in somehow, some medical insurance or I don't know,
Well, I
something.
think it goes back into the advisory position and planning.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I mean, one of the first things I would do if I really won the lottery, had giant sums of money, I would take care of myself better. You know, I'd get every dental thing I ever needed done right now done.
Yeah.
You know, I'd probably have LASIKs. I'd do all kinds of things to like make me feel better, be
Hire a chef to
healthier.
cook you great, healthy
exactly.
meals.
Yeah, I would
Personal trainer.
totally invest in me dramatically. And I think
Yeah.
with like insurance and things like that, that's part of that whole thing. Now you can afford to be, you can afford to take care of yourself in a proper manner because, just working every day and being an average person, it's tough to be able to afford to take care of yourself the way that is possible if you had some money.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think I would blow a good sum of money too, taking care of my family, just whatever, all our debt, any whatever. A few
Right.
nice things. Nobody needs a Ferrari, but it'd be nice to have a nice, I don't know, brand new
But
car. or
for
something
nobody
like
to
that.
have to worry about money anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing.
and
Yeah,
your
and
immediate
then
family.
you get the residual coming, and you can maintain that once that chunk has been paid for.
Yeah,
But
like if you took the thing with the payments and say you're getting $1 million a year, for somebody like me, I would be like, okay, I want to give my mom $100,000
I mean,
a year.
it'd be nothing at that point, and you can much more freely buy your coke and hookers, Glenn, if it's off of residual money,
Right.
not the initial
Absolutely.
investment. Once
Yeah.
you've got that set up, then blow all your damn money. It's never going to stop.
Because even like
hopefully.
again, if you're only getting $1 million a year, that's enough money to start yourself investing in like commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Sure.
You got that as your income, and you want to invest a little.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, or if the $1 million a year is your interest, depending on how much money you want,
Right.
right? I mean, that's an insane
Yeah.
amount of
And
money.
that goes back into this argument of whether you take the lump sum or this or that, because if you have an advisor that you're working with, and you figure out a plan of like, okay, if we take the lump sum of $340 million, just the interest off of that
Yep.
is going to be $4 million a year,
Yep.
and we're going to invest $3 million of that every year, and you're going to have a $1 million budget. Plus, you're still going to have this whole winnings
Yep.
on top of that.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're still wealthy. You can still do anything you want. Every day is still Saturday.
Forget calculating off of the winnings. Calculate off the residual of, of
Exactly.
the investment. That's what.
Exactly.
So that's why I was trying to describe by saying here's this chunk of ability, this chunk of potential that you have here.
You have options. That's what I
It's
always
not
say.
the number that you got. It's what can you create? What kind of residual can you create with it? And then I mean, you don't even have to be that smart to figure that out. You just buy
Money's-
something that would residually income you, give you money back.
So when I win the lottery here, I'll hire you as a financial advisor, all right, Ben?
You could hire somebody who would do a much better job, but that would be my dream.
He
is how
could be
can I
the
make this-
manager. I could be your manager
you
of
go.
the financial advisors.
Yeah.
I can be your recreation and leisure manager, dude.
There you
I'll
go.
plan the parties and,
Nice.
and how you'll have fun.
All right.
And
all
then
And he
right.
let me
needs
tag along.
he needs an assistant. Just
Okay.
saying.
So you two are in, right?
Right.
There you
All
go.
right.
We'll run your fun affairs, dude,
You're gonna have fun every day, Glenn.
all the time.
Cheers.
And if you don't, it's Ben's fault.
Oh man, fire me, get a new one. It's nothing. All right, guys. On that note, we'll call this one a little short here. Actually, no, we're about normal. 55. We're good. Before I continue fantasizing, my mind is just running free. Like,
Just remember, folks, go out and buy your tickets.
Yeah. Yeah, and best of luck to you. I hope you win, Mr. And Mrs. 1 in 300 million. Good luck. Until next time. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.